welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I cannot thank you enough for taking some time out of your day to join me for today's video. In it, I wanted to look at the top 5 best backfields in the NFL. Now, a couple things of note here. Elite backs matter, that is obvious, but I also wanted to really deep dive into who that backup is, what they actually bring to the table for an offense. So there are going to be some teams on here where the elite backs did not make the cut because those secondary guys were just not quite on the same level. If you guys are new to the channel, welcome. Please consider giving me a like and subscribe. I cannot thank you enough for the support. It means the world to me and it helps me out so very much. Thank you as well to all my current subscribers out there. With that done, let's get into this version of Hot Off the Press. We're gonna start with some honorable mentions, teams and players that just didn't make the cut, but I wanted to highlight them anyway, if only briefly. We'll start in Los Angeles with the Rams and that combination of Cam Akers and Darrell Henderson. Now, we have to see more out of Akers before we can truly put this combination in the elite tier. But I do expect Akers to pick it up in a big way when he's fully healthy in 2022. Henderson, on the other hand, was having a breakout season before injuries struck really hard towards the end of the year, and he was a huge part in that potent Rams offense. There was a plethora of talent in this running back room between the two. Next, we go to Seattle with the Seahawks, and maybe a little bit of a surprise, but Rashad Penny came on huge to end the year, and he took the league by storm. He finally was able to get rid of that bust label that had stuck with him for oh so long. Then we look at Chris Carson. If this guy can return to 100% after last year's neck injury, which was very scary, by the way, and if Penny can pick up where he left off, this is going to be a very formidable combination in Seattle. That is, if the passing game poses any sort of real threat. Up next are the Commanders in Washington with Antonio Gibson and J.D. McKissic. Now, Gibson had probably the best season that I've ever seen for a guy that was playing on basically one leg for the entirety of the year. That fractured shin was brutal. I think it happened in week 2. When he's fully healthy next year, I expect him to get an even bigger workload, and a production boost from him is coming. And by re-signing J.D. McKissic, the Commanders were able to lock up an excellent 1-2 punch that can beat you in a multitude of ways. To New Orleans we go next with the Saints and Alvin Kamara, who's backed up by Mark Ingram II. Now, even though Kamara had a down 2020 by his lofty standards, much of that can be contributed to the lack of offense around him. The Saints really had no other options to get the ball to. Defenses were able to key on him and try to shut him down, and they did a pretty good job for Kamara's talents. It also did not help that the Saints lost their starting quarterback and their starting quarterback, tight end, whatever else he is as well. Mark Ingram was a solid replacement for Kamara when he went down with injuries. He does a lot of the things that Alvin can do, just not quite as well. And now, without further ado, we're gonna get into my top 5. I'm gonna start at 5 and work my way to what I feel is the best running back combination in the league. So at 5, it's my Minnesota Vikings with Dalvin Cook and Alexander Mattison. Cook remains one of the most dominant players in the league with the ball in his hands. He is lethal in the screen game, and he's absolutely trouble to anyone trying to bring him down by themselves. He is dominant with even a sliver of space. Injuries have plagued him just a little bit to this point in his career, but when he is healthy, few are able to match his combination of speed, strength, and athletic ability. His toughness was on full display last year with that epic 222 yards from scrimmage, 2 touchdown performance on Monday Night Football against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, that game came just 11 days After dislocating his shoulder, they were saying he had absolutely no chance to play. The guy is a warrior and he does it all at an elite level. Alexander Mattison is likely not well known outside of fantasy football circles, but he's consistently shown an ability to elevate whenever Cook has gone down. He's compiled over 425 yards in each of his first 3 NFL seasons, and that is in limited work. Now, in the 5 games where he's been the guy and received 20 plus carries in a game over the last 2 years, he's racked up 522 rushing yards, 207 receiving yards, and 4 total scores. Mattison is certainly a step down in every aspect from Cook. There's no doubt about that. But he has every down back ability when he's given the opportunity. He will likely be a target for many teams in 2023 for free agency, should he get there. I have the Dallas Cowboys in at number 4 with their combination of Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard. Dallas had a running back controversy on their hands for much of the 2021 season, and for good reason. Tony Pollard flashed epic potential with limited usage for the 3rd consecutive year. On 317 career attempts, Pollard is averaging over 5 yards a carry, and his 337 receiving yards last year eclipsed his first 2 seasons combined, showing another layer of his game and elevation in his ability. Like Mattison, he's going to get plenty of looks if he makes it to free agency in 2023. Now, it can be debated what Pollard would look like as a lead back in an offense full time, but I, for one, would love to find out. Ezekiel Elliott may have slowed down just a little bit over the last 2 years, but he is still an excellent talent, and he's got a knack for getting into the end zone. If the Cowboys are wise, they're going to transfer a little bit of the load to Pollard next year to try to keep him fresh when they finish the season. He is a different animal when he is fully healthy, and that was not the case to end 2021. Zeke has shown solid ability in the screen game, and he is very hard to bring down with a single tackler. He is going to continue to eat for at least a few more seasons. The Cleveland Browns are my 3rd ranked team with their combination of Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, and I just had to keep this 1-2 punch in the top 3. I know that Kareem Hunt missed most of the 2021 season with injuries, but when we were able to see him, he was a problem for defenses. In his first 6 games before going down, Hunt had 361 yards on just 69 carries, that is over 5 yards a tote, and he had 5 rushing scores. He added 161 receiving yards on 20 catches, which showcased his dual threat ability. Hunt is basically as explosive as they come, and he's very hard to bring down in the open field, and he has the speed to be able to make defenders sweat. His partner in crime is the perfect complement to him and an absolute mauler between the tackles. He's got some juice to get to the outside as well. Over his 4-year career, Chubb has yet to drop under 5 yards per carry in any given season, and that is with over 900 attempts, which is simply incredible. Chubb has top-end vision and strength, and he will provide new quarterback Deshaun Watson with plenty of opportunities for big plays as opponents try to figure out how to slow each facet in this offense down. Just missing the top spot at 2 is the New England Patriots. Now, if you're surprised to see the Patriots so high on this list, you certainly should not be. Ramondre Stevenson and Damian Harris were 2 of PFF's top 4 ranked running backs in 2021. They combined for over 1,500 yards on the ground and 20 touchdowns, and each of these guys averaged over 4.5 yards a carry. There is not a drop-off if one of them misses time due to injury, and in fact, Stevenson exploded onto the scene as a rookie in week 11 when Harris went down for that first time. He rumbled for 100 yards and a pair of scores in his first game as the bell cow in New England. What a coming out party it was, as preseason Stevenson truthers can attest to. He was an absolute steal in the 4th round in 2020. Now, the one downside that these guys may have is that they are fairly similar backs. Neither one is particularly adept at catching the ball out of the backfield. They combined to catch just 32 balls last year. Neither of them had a receiving score either. That job fell to another one of the Patriots' seemingly endless supply of running backs. Now, Stevenson did average 9 yards per reception, so there is possibility that they could get more out of him in that aspect in the future. but it was on just 14 receptions, so the sample size is very small. What both of these guys showed last year, however, was plenty of power. Neither one, though, is really going to run away from you. They do fit perfectly into the scheme that this Patriots offense wants to employ, with rookie quarterback Mac Jones taking on a little bit more responsibility week by week. It will very likely be a split backfield again in 2022, just as it was as injuries hit last season for Harris down the stretch. That's going to work out just fine for everybody but fantasy owners. Finally, to the top spot, it is the Green Bay Packers in at number 1. And as much as it pains me, I gotta be honest here, there is not anyone in the league with the backfield that can match what the Green Bay Packers bring to the table. Many ridiculed the Pack for taking a running back in 2020 when they very much needed wide receiver help, but the decision has paid dividends for them. Dillon broke out in 2021 after seeing very little usage as a rookie, and he eclipsed over 1,100 yards of total offense while showcasing a dual threat ability that most people didn't even think he had. Rightly nicknamed the Quad Father, the tree trunks that he calls thighs give him incredible power between the tackles, and he has surprisingly soft hands for the back that weighs almost 250 pounds. He can do almost everything that Aaron Jones can. For Jones, he took a step back in 2021 after an amazing 2020 season, but he still found plenty of success. Over 5 seasons, he's still averaging more than 5 yards a carry with no signs of slowing down. He's a nightmare to try and corral in the screen game, and he has shown an ability to kill you on wheel routes as well. The Packers have shifted more and more to a run-oriented attack over the last few years for a reason, even with defending 2-time MVP Aaron Rodgers at the controls. Each of these guys is a sure bet to see plenty of usage and success once again in 2022 with the ragtag group of wideouts that are currently residing in Green Bay. And it is very likely the Pack are going to be just fine depending on them. And that is all I got for you guys for the video today. I really hope you guys enjoyed what I brought to the table. If you disagree, if you agree, drop those comments down below. Get the conversation started. That is why I do these. If you're new to the channel, if you haven't done it yet, or if you're enjoying the content, please consider giving me a like and subscribe. The support that I get means the world to me. It helps me out so much. It enables me to do what I love so I can keep bringing you guys the content that you love. This is Relentless Press. I'm your host, Abraham Opats, and we'll see you next time.